Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the KK Zone. I am Kara Kaufman, as always, and I have a treat for you again today. I am fresh off recording this interview you're about to see with Red Sox fan Matthew. He is awesome, super knowledgeable, and very fun to chat with. So, we learned a lot about the roster, about all the moves, about the expectations, about how they're doing so well this season because they're off to a great start. A little sad for Yankees fans to watch, but it's fun to watch a good team play, so at least we'll have that going for us this weekend in the Red Sox series. I hope that you have as much fun watching this interview as I had partaking in it, so please enjoy. Hi, I've got Matthew here, a real live Red Sox fan on my Yankees video. I am privileged.
That's one way of putting it. I am privileged to be here with you.
I am thrilled to have you. We have a lot of things to talk about. But first of all, before we talk about any of the things, I would like to ask you how you became a Red Sox fan.
Well, geographically, I had a choice because I grew up in the Mason-Dixon line in Connecticut and was surrounded by Yankee fans and the odd Met fan, whom both like Red Sox and Yankee fans were like, oh, that's so adorable. They weren't taken seriously. So geographically, I had a choice. And like at school, there would always be like the back and forth and all of the rigmarole going on. And some of that has traveled down here, and I've subjected you to some of it. I like to try to get a rise out of you, but you're difficult to get a rise out of. And actually, I appreciate that. But like I say, geographically, I had a choice. But in the home, I did not have a choice. I was a Red Sox fan because my dad was a Red Sox fan. My brother was a Red Sox fan. So who am I to buck family tradition? So yeah, it was pretty easy. Stepping outside the door, you had to kind of duck every now and then. Yeah, I like to think that I made the choice and I'm happy with that choice. Screw destiny. I had a hand in this.
Also, you could have gone.
More importantly, I've stuck with it. It's not the choice, it's sticking with it.
That's true. The initial choice is easy. It's the staying that's hard. And I have to tell you though, I did not grow up a baseball fan really because my family didn't watch it. But when I took a major turn in college and was like, I love baseball, my mother went through a short phase where because I was like, I'm a Yankees fan, she would call and be like, I'm a Red Sox fan now. So my point being, you could have taken the opposite route and thought about how to best annoy your family, which would have been to be a Yankees fan.
Well, yeah. My brief story. My dad and I were fans of what is now known as the Washington Football Club. So, and he was a fan because his dad was, and his dad grew up in the Boston area when they were the Boston Football Club. And my brother was like, I don't like them. I'm going to root for the Giants. And he would spend like Sunday afternoon, like in the closet when he would cheer against our team. So that was, I suppose, as I recall, it may have been scarring for him. It certainly put me in my place. I wasn't going to step out of line. So yeah, that kind of contrary take was not was not well absorbed by the powers that be in the household.
Yeah, that was probably a good choice for your mental health, at least. It made things a lot easier in your family. So we appreciate that. We appreciate sanity remaining as much as it can on this channel.
So that's how I became and stayed a Red Sox fan.
Good job. Loyalty, we love it. It's many people's story. I think it's a great one because being able to cheer for a team with people you love is kind of a large part of the joy of it. So to me, this makes a lot of sense. And thanks a lot, Mom, for eventually changing her tune and now just listening to me talk and not caring. So we've bettered it from rooting for the opposite team. So before we talk about your Red Sox this year, I'm sorry to do this, but I have been doing this with everybody. Let's take a look last year briefly. So last year sucked for everybody for every possible reason, but
Yeah.
Red Sox fans, it sucked a little more because somehow your team ended up finishing 24-36, which was good for
last place in the American League East. That's right. The Orioles actually finished ahead of the Red Sox, which the Orioles fans I spoke to were really excited about that, but I can't imagine that was great fun for the greater Boston area. I mean, and what's interesting to me, I think I was expecting like middling from the Red Sox last year, because the previous year in 2019, they also missed the playoffs because they finished third at 84 and 78, which is kind of more what I was looking at happening. But last year, I mean, things just did not go to plan. So tell me from last year, what did you see? What stuck with you that you think is meaningful, if anything?
Well, you'll recall this because at the time I was quite angry about it, was the Mookie Betts trade.
Right.
I became extremely disaffected with the Red Sox, and it's the closest I've come since probably '03 and the Grady Little era, to just saying to hell with it. My getting rid of Mookie, it still makes me mad. And again, I was very disaffected with the team. And given everything else that was going on, I was like, eh. But as March rolled around and like baseball's starting up, I'm like, oh, maybe, I can't help it. It's a reflex. It even got worse because Sale had Tommy John, Erod opted out. The team was just crap. They were just a bad team to begin with. They had no pitching. I think Evaldi was hurt as well. Not that it's been great shape since 2018 anyway. So I did not have much hope for how 2020 would go. And I paid very little attention to it, except when my brother was over here and we were working on the deck and we'd watch the game and go, man, this team sucks. So, my take on last year was, for obvious reasons, not happy with the team, but also the year was just so weird.
Right.
JD Martinez had an awful year, but if you put yourself in any one of these players' situations, you're just basically playing baseball, sitting in your room and playing baseball,
right,
over and over. A bit of a drag. I mean, the World Series was great. I liked the playoffs. That was a lot of fun.
Really
but
fun.
On the whole, last year was just kind of a lost year. And if they had done well, I would not have given the front office any credit for it.
To me, that tracks. Last year was so weird. My takeaway from it was there's no takeaway from it, because everything you said, not to mention, in addition to having to play baseball and sit in a hotel room, these players also are having to deal with a pandemic like the rest of us, which is untold emotional trauma that manifests in many ways. And in the case of JD Martinez too, because of a lot of the rule changes and just for health and safety protocols, he said he wasn't able to watch much video during the game because that was a thing, and that really messed with him.
Yeah.
Bats, and he didn't get to do it. And it showed. And I think we're seeing this year that whatever that was is not lasting, which is great because he's on my fantasy. Yeah. Thank you.
That was my tactic too. Like, take as many Yankee players as possible. That way, either way, I'm ahead.
That's actually not my tactic. My tactic was actually, I think JD Martinez is going to have a great year, so I want to grab him, which I'm very pleased. Other things I did, not so good, but that was a good call. Okay, so I'm with you on that. And now, let's now look at what happened between last year and this year, because I was making a list here of moves the Red Sox made, and I think I'd forgotten just how much they did. And it was kind of crazy to look at and be like, oh yeah. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to run through what I think happened here. And then after I do that, you can tell me what I forgot. And also you can tell me what stuck out to you and what your feelings were about everything as a whole. So the easier side is actually who they lost. It was fewer people. They didn't re-sign Colin McHugh, who went ahead and signed with Tampa. They did not re-sign Jackie Bradley Jr., I know a personal fave of yours, who went to Milwaukee and is having a lousy year, but whatever. Dustin Pedroia finally officially retired, though he hadn't honestly played in a couple years, so I don't know how relevant that was. And Andrew Benintendi, in a big surprise trade, went away to Kansas City for some minor leaguers in a three-way trade that included the Mets as well. this, I don't know, Chris Mazza got DFA'd and went to Tampa Bay. I only bring it up because he's with Tampa now, and any pitcher Tampa picks up, you're like, and similarly, Jeffrey Springs also went to Tampa Bay, and he's actually pitching okay for them. So that's who went away. But then the Red Sox definitely filled those holes. They re-signed Martin Perez, who they'd had starting last year. I thought that was a weird move, but he's actually pitching pretty well. They had a great Rule 5 draft pickup from the Yankees and Garrett Whitlock, who's been mostly great. I knew that name, and I was like, damn. And sure enough, they also signed Hunter Renfroe to play the outfield. They signed Matt Andriese to pitch in the bullpen. They signed Enrique Hernandez, and also who we love, to play a bunch of positions, as well as Garrett Richards to see if he could bounce back as a starter. They ended up with Francie Cordero as part of that trade for Andrew Benintendi. They signed Hirokazu Sawamura to fill out the bullpen as well, and Marwin Gonzalez to play a utility role. And I can't forget a big trade with the Yankees for Adam Ottavino, personal save, who now pitches for the Red Sox. So as you can see, like understandably a lot of pitching, because that was a major problem for the Red Sox last year. But what did I miss, and what'd you think?
Well, I have to add that my wife was very disappointed that Benintendi is not on the Red Sox, because at least gave her something to enjoy, while I just kind of ranted and raved at the screen. She's like, I love his hair.
He does have good hair.
Easy on the eyes, yes. Yep. And not bad in the field, though production-wise, he had started to crater. And while I was willing to, give a pass on anyone's performance last year, he was injured. And he was crap before he was injured. And he was trending down in 2019. So I would have liked to have seen him do better, but I'm not sad seeing him go. And Francie Cordero has, cult hero possibility written all over him. I love the Ottavino pickup. He has such a sour kipper on the mound. He just looks so pissed off, like so unhappy with every pitch. And he's got that nasty slider. My God. Oh, yeah. I like him. I love the Garrett Whitlock. Rule 5 players do not pitch as well as he has pitched. He has been fantastic. Him and Ottavino, and we'll get to this guy later, Matt Barnes. Amazing. Very happy with that. Less happy with how Kike Hernandez and Gonzalez are going. I kind of expected a little more, and maybe he'll pick it up from Hernandez. Gonzalez has just been kind of a noodle bat. He really hasn't looked all that good. And they picked up another guy who kind of fits the same mold in Danny Santana, who homered in his first game and hit a triple. That's like the quickest way into any fan's heart. Hit a triple, like Jason Bay, his first game when he came in after the Manny trade. I think his first at bat, he hit a triple. It's like, you can do no wrong now.
Love a triple. Also, Danny Santana, I was looking at your roster, and he literally backs up every single spot in the roster except catcher. So I was like, okay, that's helpful.
Yeah. And he started off well, so maybe he gets a bigger cushion than some of the other players. But in getting Santana, they addressed a need, which was first base. Bobby Dahlbeck, he's not going to be the answer. And I hope they send him down, because he's just not cutting it. They need a first baseman. The last time they had a first baseman this bad was 2002, and it was Tony Clark, who was on fumes. There was a gaping chest wound at first base. And but for that, they should have made it into the playoffs. Anyways, I'm glad to see them address that. So the bullpen moves, and even though it is in Hernandez so far, I do like the positional flexibility, because Verdugo as in today's center field ain't gonna cut it. He's not a full-time center fielder.
No, I was surprised.
Hunter Renfroe has been great in right field.
Shocking.
He covers right field really well.
I'm truly surprised at how well Hunter Renfroe is doing.
Yeah. Offensively, he's going to hit one out every now and then, but in right field, he plays it well. That was a good pickup. So, and they can carry his substandard bat in right field as long as the other guys are picking it up. Oh, and one last thing about JBJ. 6 interesting, amazing, frustrating years with JBJ. I mean, when he was on, he was amazing. He was unstoppable, but he wasn't on enough, and it was less and less frequent over the past few years. He could always do amazing things in the field, but it just got so frustrating watching him go through another like 2 for 20 slump. So
yeah. That guy, that's a guy you want for his glove, and he seems like a fun dude as well. But I mean, also as funny, he feels like a Brewers kind of player. I don't know what that means, but seeing him in that Brewers uniform, I thought, oh yeah, that actually I can see it. That actually makes a lot of sense.
yeah, like underperformer.
But the Brewers are one of those teams though that like always outperforms their underperforming players. I feel like so. I don't know. That made sense to me vibe wise. Additionally, something on Benintendi, I think you're right. He had been trending really far downwards. It felt like a kind of a weird pickup for the Royals, to be honest. But I love Mike Petriello's podcast, and they were talking about the thing about Benintendi that red flagged the most is his sprint speed, which used to be elite, has cratered. He is no longer that fast, which is that a combination of injuries not dealing with or like something else? I don't know, but he's been like slower and slower every year, which is bad for a guy with his skill set.
Wow. Oh, back to JBJ for a second.
Yeah.
He reminded me of a player the Sox had in 2013 and traded, and it was a good move that they traded him, was Jose Iglesias, who was just incredible at shortstop when he was with the Red Sox and later that year with the Tigers. Just a joy to watch at shortstop. And there will be more comparisons with the 2013 team as we go along.
Can't wait. Excellent. That makes sense to me. So, okay, great. So those are basically the moves the Red Sox made. Looking at it at the time, I don't think I thought too much of it, but looking at it now, I think they did do some smart things. Especially they clearly need to address that pitching, and they seem to mostly have done that, which is great. So looking at how this year is going.
I love Garrett.
Go ahead.
I love Garrett Richards. But yeah, at some point he's going to go on the DL and not come back. I just kind of feel it. Plus too many walks. When he's on, he's fantastic, but it's like so many things have to go right for him to stay on the roster for the season. So I'm not getting too attached, hoping for the best, but not getting too attached.
That seems like honestly a good strategy with pitching in general. It all feels very precarious.
Yeah, they haven't missed a start yet. They haven't had, I think they've had 2 starts by their number 5 starter, which is sweet. Long may this health last. I'm not relying on it, but
it can't possibly.
So far, so good.
The Yankees were one of the few teams that hadn't used a 7th starter until all of a sudden everyone got hurt, and now it's like, who's starting? Do we what now? So when it comes, it comes fast and unfortunate. But so far, as you say, the Red Sox have been shockingly healthy, because I looked at who's on the IL, and literally it's only Ryan Brazier and Chris Sale.
I don't miss Ryan Brazier. Sale, I'm hoping that he can come back. I have no idea when this is going to happen, and everyone is saying, oh, we're not putting any pressure on him. But if he comes back in August, and ideally as a starter, that would be fantastic. Not counting on that. But you put him at the back of the bullpen, that might do it. That would be like having Chapman.
Yep.
Chapman in back of, or like Sale in back of Barnes. I'll take it.
That will play.
Yeah.
Plus, and presumably in that role, he could do more than 1 inning. So that would be a really nice weapon to have for a stretch run and or playoffs. Yeah. Because Much as I was not expecting a lot from the Red Sox this year, I think I was kind of expecting them to be middle of the pack, like probably not as bad as last year, but probably not great. They have been really solidly good. And it's crazy right now. We're talking on June 2nd, and the Yankees and Red Sox haven't played yet, which is weird. Really backwards, which is strange. But also, therefore, I haven't watched the Red Sox a lot play, but I have obviously seen their progress. And they're sitting pretty right now. I mean, they spent most of the first 2 months in first place. The red hot, stupid Rays have now surpassed them, much to everyone's chagrin. But they are still sitting at 10 games over 500, second in the American League East. I think with the loss last night, they're 2 games behind Tampa. They're 2.5 games ahead of the Yankees. So that top 4 is top 3. And the Blue Jays are only just behind the Yankees. So it's definitely a race in the East right now. And what was interesting to me watching the Red Sox this year is they started out by getting swept by the Orioles, which was like, but then they went on to win 9 straight. And since then, they've had a pretty good streak. How has it been watching them so far?
Not bad. And it's really because of the big 4. They've had a really they've been really consistent on offense with Devers, Verdugo, Martinez, and Bogarts. They have just been premium, just really reliable. This is the sole comparison I'll draw with the 2018 team. They are extremely top heavy. Yep. You throw Hernandez, the only other player with an OPS for 700.
Yep.
The bottom of that lineup, it's okay. You've got you've got Gonzalez, you've got Renfroe, whom, yes, I like, and then you've got whoever's at first base. And it's a long way from the 5th hitter back to the top of the lineup. Somehow that hasn't bitten them in the ass yet. But now that they're playing a good team in Houston, you're seeing what good pitching can really do to them.
It's a good point.
Yeah. This is, I think, go ahead.
Well, I think you're right, because I saw that. I mean, they had a really rough loss 2 days ago, and then kind of a closer but still not ideal one last night. And I think, though, it's interesting you note that, because I was looking at your roster, and I'll run down who you have on the roster in a moment. But what I will say right now, because it's related, is I was looking at the OPSs, and it's not a perfect way to judge offense. But as you say, JD Martinez, Rafael Devers, and Xander Bogaerts are all plus over 900 OPS, which is fantastic. That's incredible. And Verdugo is not far off. They're playing extremely well, and that is amazing, because I don't think there are that many teams right now that have 4 players performing at that high level on offense, because as a sport, offense has been kind of crap this year. Because, I'm watching the Yankees, and their offense is surprisingly terrible, but it's not just us. It is many teams that have that same issue, where maybe a guy or 2 is hitting, and then there's just a big shrug emoji for all the lineup. So having 4 guys that are consistently hitting, that's enough right now, at least for the moment, to have you in really strong position.
Yeah. And, if you look at the track record of the other guys in the lineup, you could expect them to kind of progress, get a little better. But when they're not hitting, it's a problem. And good teams are going to find a way around that. And the Astros are finding how to do that. I mean, how you get the 4 of Verdugo, Martinez, Devers, and Bogaerts out, I don't think there's any one pitcher that's going to mow through all 4 of them. Right. Especially like Devers will hit anything, and so will Martinez if it's in the zone. And if it's not in the zone, he wants to swing at it. And I'm really happy with the offense. And it's funny you mentioned, offense is just in the crapper across the league. I got the MLB package, which I guess was me telling MLB, okay, I'm back. And I watched the Red Sox. I occasionally dip into another game, but you talk about offense being rubbish. I'm like, well, not in the games I'm watching. No, the Red Sox are great. Well, sure. I did listen, I've been listening to the Yankee games, and Ma and Pa are even catching on to the fact that offensively, the Yankees are just really, oh God, awful. It's just painful to watch a team when they don't hit. It's just no fun.
It's just also surprising because you're talking about track record and looking at the track record of a lot of guys on the Yankees roster, they should be hitting. So it's just
Yeah.
it's a combination of, yeah, it's frustrating when a team doesn't hit, but it's even worse when the thing you're supposed to be best at is just not happening and there's no discernible reason for it. For like everybody, Aaron Judge is having a really good year, but like besides Aaron Judge, nobody is having even a good year for themselves, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, there's still time for that turnaround, but I tell you, it has been a frustrating couple of months to watch them hit. And the only reason we're not completely buried is our pitching has been surprisingly good. So
I know that's the scary thing. Like the pitching has been keeping them afloat in as much, well, it's a tough division, but no one expects the Yankees to, be rubbing elbows with the Orioles at any point. So yeah, you've got Garrett Cole and well, the Kluber thing kind of sucks. But there are so many good arms. I mean, Jordan Montgomery, I would take Jordan Montgomery. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, the Red Sox don't have that kind of depth. And while things kind of suck for the Yankees right now, it's not going to last. Unless, I mean, even you're getting impatient with Gleyber Torres.
I love Gleyber Torres. I think everybody who watches any videos I make knows I love me Gleyber Torres. I think that it has been tough because the ability is obvious and the whatever's been happening is baffling because then he'll have a week like he had 2 weeks ago where he hits the cover off the damn ball, plays really good defense, and you're like, oh yeah, there's my star. And then he has the week he had last week where he can't hit anything, makes 3 errors in one game,
field anything,
which is crazy because it's not ability that's lacking. And I don't know, I always get mad when people try to assign blame to something psychological or internal because we don't know. What the hell do we know?
No, oh, I hate that. Oh,
I hate people will be like, watching the Yankees play last week was really hard, but people saying they're not trying. It's like, yes, they are trying. They're trying so hard. That makes it worse. It actually is harder when you're trying too hard. So I feel that way a little bit.
You don't stay a professional by dogging it.
100%.
Well, I hope that continues. I'm hoping that I mean, for my sake, I'm just being, the greedy Sox fan. I don't wish you further misfortune. I'm thinking Red Sox are going to miss Garrett Cole.
You're right. Yep. Unluckily for me.
Okay, cool. Garrett Cole. Okay, hopefully it's like Luis Sessa, Mike King, some other call, Davy Garcia. Oh, he was big news a couple of years ago. Yeah. I hope they get him.
I think you might get Davy, although I'm not sure if his 10 days are going to be up because he started and went back down. So probably you will end up getting Mike King. We might even see. So we're going to a game on Friday, right? Yankees Red Sox is very exciting. And we're seeing Evaldi. I do not know who the Yankees are throwing yet. They haven't announced it. So big. But it might be Mike King. So it's going to be a big question mark on pitching in that one on both sides. So we'll see. But this is a good segue to who we're going to see because I got your roster right here. We've talked about a lot of these people already, but let's just run down real fast. If you have thoughts about anybody after I yell their names fast, you tell me because I'm sure you do. So catching Christian Vasquez, backing him up, Kevin Plawecki, who I totally forgot played for the Red Sox.
Not bad.
Yes, he's hitting better than Christian Vasquez right now, so that's something. Then at first base, as you say, Bobby Dahlbeck for the moment, and then second base, Christian Arroyo, who I also forgot played for the Red Sox. Shrug. So yeah, at second base, Christian Arroyo, who tell me, I don't even know who is that.
He's got a nice bat. He's got a bit of pop. And, I'm just looking for someone to, OPS over 700 at that position. And if it's not going to be Arroyo, they have a lot of people who can play second base. Though I like Arroyo best. But we'll see. I'm sure that position is going to be a revolving door.
I, for some reason, thought in my head that it was going to be Jeter Downs, but I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, I guess he's a little ways. I hope he doesn't come up, because if he does come up, it'll mean that the season has kind of gone south.
Fair enough.
Right? I think if he sees the field before September, that'll be a problem.
No,
So that'll be a sign of a bigger problem.
or a sign that he's killing it in the minors, I guess, is also possible. I guess we'll see.
Sure, that would be nice. Yeah, and if our biggest problem is second base, I'll take it. Yeah,
100%. And then, okay, continuing around, Rafael Devers, we talked about, huge star, having a great season at third base, and Xander Bogart having another great season at shortstop. And then the outfield, now this is what your depth chart says. I think they switch around positions a little more than this, if I'm not incorrect. But the depth chart has Verdugo in left, Kike Hernandez in center, ? And Hunter Renfroe in right. But I know that, as you said, Verdugo has been in center sometimes. He can also play right. I don't know. It seems like that's the parts they move, but that's the main three. Yeah.
Yeah, Verdugo is most often left in that setup. Verdugo, Hernandez, and then Renfroe. Santana has played center. I think that's akin to Clint Frazier playing center. He's not your second choice center fielder, but hey, look, he's in the golden period right now. He can do no wrong. So hopefully he doesn't slam into the wall or anything goes amiss. They could really use someone like Ryan Lamar, but
he's hurt. He's hurt. You can't have him.
Oh no!
We could use him too.
Sigh. Oh.
Literally, everyone got hurt.
Well, whenever
got hurt. It's like he was our backup center fielder, and then he immediately pulled a hamstring.
Yeah. Well, whenever I am in Yankee Stadium and Ryan Lamar is playing, he hits 2 home runs. So if he's in a Yankee uniform and that happens, hey.
Hey, I would love it. However, I don't think he's coming back anytime very soon. Yeah, I know. But then you also, of course, we have to say JD Martinez is the DH. He technically can play the outfield, but he doesn't do that very often. And why mess with it? He's hitting like a champ. And then, of course, Marlon Gonzalez, who backs up all of the infield and corner outfield with whatever level of goodness he does that. And then talk about the pitching a little bit, but we got Eduardo Rodriguez, Nathan Eovaldi, Garrett Richards, and then Nick Pivetta, who I forgot was a Red Sox, and Martin Perez.
Yeah, they picked up Pivetta before the 2020, or I think it was during the 2020 season. The Phillies gave up on him. Oh, this was the Brandon Workman trade. Sorry, that's what that was.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, they traded for Pivetta, and he may have pitched a game or two with the big league team, but he was on like the satellite squad down in Florida or wherever. But he's come out of the gate really well, a few too many walks. His record is better than his underlying numbers, but given how well the bullpen has gone, he's the kind of guy who, absent, a history of arm trouble, if he can do 5 or 6, him and Perez doing 5 or 6 innings on a regular basis, I will take it.
What's interesting about that rotation to me, and obviously you're missing a big piece in Chris Sale, but Erod is supposed to be the best pitcher on the team, and he's been the worst pitcher on the team so far. Eovaldi, I could write a book about how much I really wanted Eovaldi to be good, and he never was. And he was so good for the Red Sox in 2018. When they re-signed him, I was like, mistake. And I don't know if it's a mistake. That's not fair to Eovaldi. He's been fine. He just has not been great like he was that year. But
yeah, he had an amazing streak. Yep.
Unbelievable. He has the stuff that make you think he could do that regularly, but but then I was looking at the pitching stats for your team, and as you say, Nick Pivetta is 6-0, and pitcher wins don't mean that much because a lot of factors go into it besides how well they pitch. But that's something. And your starter who leads in ERA is Perez, who's just over 3.5. So
Yeah.
that's great. I mean, nice work if you can get it. If it keeps up, they're in good shape.
Yeah. I would be wary of him starting a playoff game. I mean, and that kind of tells you where I think this team is headed. So like the best case scenario for this team is they make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I think in the front office's mind, that wouldn't be the best case scenario, because if they get to the playoffs, it's going to be because they've made some moves. And if they've made some moves, they may be switching out some of their prospects. I don't trust them to make rash decisions with young players, because they've kind of placed the future of the franchise on a different model. So this team is overachieving. Offensively, they're pitching wise, it's something's going to happen. And I hope they don't overpay for a mid-level starter who isn't Evaldi like Evaldi was in 2018.
Right.
Because I've seen so many ham and eggers come from other teams in this kind of setting. David Cohn, I remember, in 2001, he was washed up at that point. But the Sox took a chance on him. Casey, I'm going down the road of bad memories right now. But best case scenario for the front office, they don't make the playoffs. As a fan, they make the playoffs, and it's not that wild card rubbish where it's like one game and you're cooked. Unless they've changed that. I don't know. I would love to see them win the division. That's a pipe dream.
Yeah, they could do it. I mean, they were
because Toronto is too good. Toronto's too good. Yeah. And Tampa Bay is just going to do their Tampa Bay thing and just be such an unappealing team to watch. I can't stand watching them. They're so joyless.
Tampa is okay.
Anyways.
So obviously it's been 2 months of season, so we have actual data instead of just looking at names and hypothesizing. What's curious to me is going into the season, I mean, I predicted the Yankees to win the division, which obviously I'm less confident in right now, although it's not outside the realm of possibility. It's only June 2nd, and they are not that far into first place. And they're not close to playing what they're capable of. But I think that the Blue Jays were what I thought might be the toughest out in the division. And, Vlad Guerrero Jr. might win the MVP, but the team has not quite found its rhythm yet. But they're scary. And they're only a game behind the Yankees right now. So no one is outside of shouting distance except for the Orioles. And the Rays, despite the fact that I can't figure out how they're winning so much, are winning a lot. And I can't tell if it's sustainable or not. And the Red Sox are, I think, as you say, are overperforming on pitching. So, but if that continues for a month or two, they could easily win the division. So,
true.
I don't know.
Agreed. With the Rays, I like Tyler Glasnow. I mean, he's fun to watch.
Yes.
But the rest of the team, anyways.
Yeah. So I think I'm with you. I think the Red Sox, I wouldn't have said this before the season, but I think the Red Sox have a great shot at the playoffs. I think at this point, it might be more surprising if they don't make the playoffs. But yes, they did revert to the old playoff structure. So it is going to be that one game wild card game, which sucks.
I remember that happening to Pittsburgh, I think. Like back when Pittsburgh had some good teams, like 98 win teams, and then boom, you get a crappy inning and that's it. Oh, it's so unfair. So unfair. Even when the Red Sox had good teams and the Yankees were always winning the division, I'm sorry, the best team wins the division. I'm sorry, the best team is the team with the best record at the end of the year. I'm sorry, 162 games proves something. And then you have this roll of the dice. It's so unfair. Entertaining, but unfair.
I have always, I mean, I had to watch the Yankees play in that wild card game 3 times in 4 years, and it was not fun, even though they did win 2 of them, but like it was not, as a fan, it is, yeah, it's exciting, but in the kind of way that you're like, I'm excited and I might also jump out that window any minute because what's happening. But I think that what I learned from watching the playoffs last year in their crazy structure was the 3-game series format is more interesting. And that, if they're going to keep the wild card, which obviously, I think they'll eventually expand everything. But even in the moment of having the same number of teams in, to me, it'd be a vast improvement to make that 1-game wild cards playoff game a 3-game set. And you could even make it a 3-game series all at the home park of the higher seed, which incentivizes being the higher seed. And to me,
Yep.
that at least there's slightly less randomness in 3 games than in 1 game. But
Yep, totally agree. I was actually thinking that thing about home field advantage, that you have to have some kind of advantage for your performance during the season. Yep, agreed, totally.
So we'll see. But I'm with you. And I think I agree the best case scenario for the Red Sox in terms of, forget the front office, we don't care about them. For fans is that they win the division and they can make a decent run in the playoffs, because I could see that happening. What do you think is the worst case scenario for the Red Sox?
A bunch of injuries. The worst case scenario is, they don't find a solution at first base. Hunter Renfroe, and his sub 300 OBP and his sub 200 batting average persist. Danny Santana just kind of flames out. If any of the big 4 get hurt, particularly Verdugo, as the return for the Mookie trade, that would be just, kind of an FU from the baseball gods. And pitching wise, maybe Rodriguez is hurt, but if he has an injury, then it's really anyone could take the mound. They're going to be in big trouble because they just don't have depth pitching wise, and they're doing it with smoke and mirrors right now.
Love a good razzle dazzle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that all tracks to me. Interesting. We didn't even actually talk much about the bullpen, but it's been surprisingly good.
It's been amazing. And
you talk about Matt Barnes, right? Talk about Matt Barnes.
Yeah, that's the player who, I want to talk to you about. And I have hated Matt Barnes for a long time. Oh, he's been so frustrating. He's got that huge bender and upper 90s fastball. You're like, why don't I feel good when he's on the mound? And, just every year he proves that he can't do anything with runners on base. It's just, This year, however, another comparison with the 2013 team. The 2013 team had Koji, who had a year for the ages. He was just flat out unhittable. If you look at his numbers, nobody has numbers like that, not even Rivera. I mean, Rivera had numbers like that for year after year after year. But my God, he was just incredible. And the really encouraging thing with Barnes is he's not walking people. He's got 24 innings, 41 Ks. I think it's 5 walks, which is not Matt Barnes in his entire career. He has been lights out. And he blew a game against the Angels the other day. And I texted my brother, can't trust this guy. I mean, what happened was a single from Mike Trout and a home run from Ohtani. The 2 best players on the planet. I'm like, no way, man. No way. He's just faking it. I'm not going to trust him. No. But yeah, that's going to happen. And, it wasn't like he gave up a home run to Mike Ford.
Not yet. There's time.
Could be. Yes. Ford with 1 foot on the bus to where is the team now? Wilkes?
Scranton. Yeah, Scranton.
Yeah.
Ford only has one foot in that bus because we also have a first base problem right now. So,
Oh, Voight. Oh,
yeah.
what a bummer.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
Huge bummer. But this isn't about the Yankees. This is about the Red Sox. And I will say that Matt Barnes is somebody else I picked up for my fantasy team, and he has been great.
Wow, that is brave. That is brave to take him.
You know what? No, it wasn't that brave. I didn't take him at the beginning. I took him when I had to drop somebody else. And I was like, wait, what?
I was going to say, yeah, he wouldn't have been in your first team. Nope. Nope.
But then, so we said Adam Ottavino, who personal fave, both as a human and as a player. I was really upset they gave up on him, but like, if they weren't going to use him the way they should have used him, I guess better he should be used well somewhere else. But I'm like really, really not looking forward to watching him strike out Judge and Stanton in a row. That's going to be really annoying. But it's going to happen. Thanks a lot. But he's been doing really well. And then Sawamura, who I didn't really know about, is having a pretty good season. Medium?
Yeah, he's a little dicey. He gives up a few too many home runs. But so far, it hasn't been that big a problem. Cora has been really good with situationally putting them in the right place. So Sawamura doesn't carry many of the heavy leverage innings. That's Ottavino and Barnes. And I'm glad they picked up Andres, but he hasn't done that well.
He's been terrible.
He's become, along with Josh Taylor, he's becoming the white flag. So I always liked Andres against the Sox. Like whenever he pitched against them, I'm like, we got to get that guy like this. That's the sole like check against the bullpen's performance so far.
And talking about Garrett Whitlock for a second, who, he's, as I said, a prospect I was aware of in the Yankee system and was excited about, less so now because of the Red Sox, but good for you. I was looking at his numbers because I remember he got off to an unbelievable start. And sure enough, he didn't give up a run in April, which is insane for a kid with no experience. He did give up a couple of runs in May, as everyone is bound to do at some point in their lives. But I mean, all signs point to great pickup. So he's been a big boost to that bullpen as well.
Yeah. And, those are the kinds of pickups that make a difference and have made a difference for the Yankees in like huge ways. The corners of the infield. Like, who knew Urshela was that good? Voight, you could tell was, Voight, you could tell was, a power hitter. You put him in the right situation. Perfect. It's just, I just hope the Sox can bump into someone like that on the waiver wire. But I'll take Whitlock in the meantime, just as proof of concept.
Heck yeah. And I think it's interesting because the Yankees right now, the Yankees farm system is mostly pretty pitcher heavy. So the reason that Whitlock was left unprotected is because he was not quite, we didn't think, quite as close to the majors. And the Yankees had a bunch of other pitching prospects that are also on the 40-man. So, and a lot of them are low minors that are not like an imminent option, but there's a lot of talent. So the Red Sox are the beneficiary of kind of an excess of one particular talent pool on the Yankee system. So good for you.
Yay, sometimes finishing last works in your favor. In the Rule 5 draft.
That sometimes it works out. So I think that's anything else about the roster that you wanted to throw out there before we move on a little bit.
No. I'm pleased as punch with how things have been going. Seriously, I know where they need to upgrade, and as long and just ride this wave, all the better.
Yeah, hopefully they'll do it. And so we already talked about Mookie Betts. So I'm not going to rehash that again. That was something I wanted to bring up because I knew. And I will say this from myself personally. Mookie Betts was always the one I found the hardest to root against when he was with the Red Sox. So I did personally enjoy that he went to a team that made it easier for me to root for him, because what a fun dude.
Agreed. Yeah, I've kind of taken a shine to the Dodgers. They're a fun team to watch. I mean, there's just such quality at every position. Yeah, and Mookie doesn't have to be the guy on that team. They're just Yeah, that is, yeah. If I wasn't a Red Sox fan, I suppose I would be a Dodgers fan. They're just so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
Or a Giants fan because Stremski is their center fielder. So.
He is, and they're having they're the best record in the majors right now. What's up with that? That's for a different episode. But crazy. But yeah, the Dodgers, I'm with you. And one of my good friends is a huge Dodgers fan, so I hear a lot about them. And I will say this: she loves Alex Verdugo, so she was very sad that he went to you. But I'm hoping that you enjoy him as much as she always has, and that he serves you well in the absence of one Mookie Betts.
Yeah. So far, so good.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to ask you about was actually Alex Cora, because this obviously was a little bit of drama in that he had to serve a suspension for, cheating with the Astros and the Red Sox, actually. And then the Red Sox rehired him, which I guess everybody kind of saw coming. How do you feel about that? Obviously, so I will say from outside perspective, he does a really good job as a manager. So I don't think that was ever under debate. But my question is, how did you feel with this whole mess of a situation and then rehiring him? Your thoughts as a fan watching?
Well, as you know, like depending on which laundry you root for, your outrage is selective. So, Jason Giambi, oh man, oh boy, my blood's boiling. Manny Ramirez, well,
Manny being Manny.
You can look at it this way. Yes. Honestly, the issue I have is with just the ham-handed way that Major League Baseball administers justice. They're just such clowns. I'm very pro player, but for no players to get any kind of punishment, I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. Were they just willing pawns or unwilling pawns? I'm sorry, they were the ones who carried it out. That said, a head had to roll, and I'm okay with losing Alex Cora for what turned out to be a lost year. Good job, Ron Renicky. Kind of a crappy gig, but hey, AJ Hinch got a job. So I think I was very happy when the Red Sox beat the Astros and beat AJ Hinch. I don't like AJ Hinch. He was the face of that team as far as I was concerned. Oh God, I hate Altuve. Oh, my wife hates him, just hates him. But yeah, I'm happy to have Cora back. He's a great spokesman for the team. He's a good face for the team. So my level of outrage again, is attenuated. It's kind of down. If he had signed with the Yankees, that's again something totally different.
Absolutely.
So that's
Yeah, that makes good sense to me. I mean, I would not describe myself as outraged about Alex Cora being rehired. I do think it's interesting. I think you're right that like the whatever system of punishment was decided upon was not a great one. So I definitely have a lot of questions about that. I think we all do, but it was, we're never going to know the full truth of it because they're only going to tell us what they want to tell us. So the way that they portrayed it, in my mind, made Cora sound more culpable than possibly he was. Certainly the players felt that way, that he shouldn't have been scapegoated the way he was. So ultimately, like, whatever. And as you say, he's good for the team. So I'm happy for you that he's back. And you can only be punished as much as you're punished. So he did his time, and now he's back, and he's doing well again. So I mean, good for the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Agreed.
Excellent. All right. So I would love to change tacks here. If you have any, I think we exhausted our thoughts on the roster, but stop me if I'm wrong. But I would love to move on to something totally different. Let's talk about Fenway Park. One of the most embarrassing facts about me is I've never been to Fenway Park.
Oh,
I was planning to go last year, and then, last year happened and I could not go. But it is on my very short list of trips I want to make in the very near future, because it's one of the most historic parks in baseball, and everybody seems to love it. So I'm curious to hear from you. I assume you have been multiple times to Fenway Park. What do you think of your ballpark?
I love Fenway. I love it. I love Fenway. When you walk up, and you see the field in all its glory, it's so green. It's so beautiful. It's just great. I have had some bad seats there. In the right field corner. Oh my God. Oof. Yeah, just horrible. But seriously, if you are along the first base or third base line, or even in the monster seats where I've never gone, you're going to be really close to the action. It's just a fantastic place to watch a game. Really, really, it's a great place to go. The food is it's all beige ballpark food. Yeah.
See, okay.
Yeah, nothing to write home about.
That's a pet peeve of mine that I've discovered while doing these interviews, because the more I talk to people, the more I don't understand why stadiums don't do a better job having exciting, local, unique, special foods. So I was going to ask you if Fenway had anything that was like unique to Fenway, food or drink, but sounds like no.
They may have updated, their menus, just kind of keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing. But I think there's also, just a hardcore element in Red Sox fandom that is not going to be too keen on sushi or, any of these things that have in them West Coast parks. Speaking of West Coast parks, oh my God, if you ever get a chance, go to, I think it's still called Petco, the Padres Stadium. The food there is to die for. It's so good. Oh my God. At Fenway, it's just like sausage and peppers, and that's, if you don't like it, too bad. Next. Yeah.
Never make that accent for me again. Nope. I suddenly like 50% less. No, I'm kidding. Okay, noted. I am interested. So Fenway, historic, green monster, iconic. Tell me though this. Yankees fans are a particular thing in Fenway. So forget that for a second. If I were like, I don't know, a Pirates fan coming into Fenway to watch the Pirates play the Red Sox, how do Fenway faithful feel about opposing team fans besides Yankees fans?
I was never put off. I'm too busy focusing on the game. And yeah, I'm looking at the field, and yeah, if I was in the bleachers or something, it might be a little different, because I can remember back in the day when there would always be fights in center field or in right field during Red Sox Yankee games. But it's not like I grew up in Southie or anything, and am of that quick-tempered Irish ilk. I am part Irish, so
it's latent. It's waiting to come out.
Yes, yeah. Oh, we'll see Friday. Yeah.
Oh, I will bring my medical supplies.
Yes. Okay. With elbows up to the beer line. Yeah.
That's it. So great. I mean, I have friends who have, or acquaintances at least, who have stories about rough times at Fenway, but to be fair, they're obnoxious Yankees fans, so I can't say they were necessarily blameless in whatever went down. All fan bases have some people that are just going to be too chatty for their own good. That's just,
yeah. I think if you have like an infield box or something like that, you're fine. But the more you radiate out from that, into the far corners of the park, you might get some stuff. But I think one thing that has kind of driven that away a bit is the price of tickets. Sorry, Are you going to pay that amount of money to just be, a drunken loudmouth? It's not a choice I would make, but maybe other Sox fans would. But I would see it I would find it very difficult to see anyone giving you a tough time.
Thank you. Well, I am delightful, so I also find that difficult to see.
There we
Actually,
go.
the last time prior to this season that I was at Yankee Stadium was no, that's a lie. But let me restart that story. My first playoff game that I ever went to was way too late in my life, but it was Yankees Red Sox at the stadium. And I was up in the upper deck because I can't afford better seats for the playoffs. That, speaking of expensive tickets, woo, Yankee Stadium in the playoffs. But I was up in the upper deck, and the entire row in front of me was all Red Sox fans, which was slightly baffling. But also,
Oh, lucky you.
you know what though? It was okay because as evidenced by this series of conversations I'm having, I like talking to fans of other teams, and they weren't being obnoxious. Also, the Red Sox blew out the Yankees in miserable fashion, so they didn't need to be obnoxious because we were all just depressed already. Yep. That was the game Austin Romine pitched in the playoffs. You know it's going poorly when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You saw Brock Holt hit for the cycle. Lucky you. History.
I did.
Wow.
I really did because I didn't leave. Most people did. I stayed for that home run off Romine. I stayed. And I do not regret it. But I was just, those Red Sox fans were interesting because once they realized that I wasn't going to yell at them, they actually were interested to hear, we had some interesting conversations. See, what I want from fans in my stadium is for them to provide me with useful information about their team. Because, I like that. These guys didn't actually know that much, so it wasn't that helpful. But I'm always willing to learn. Actually, the one game I've been to so far this year was a White Sox game, and it was the best game I've ever been to. It was the triple play. I was there for the triple play.
Oh, wow. Oh, that was an amazing play. Like those ground out triple plays, it has to be so precise. Oh, those are wonderful to see. Wow. Oh, lucky you.
It was my only game so far this season. It was a keeper. But I will say that prior to the game, I got there really early. And for the first time in my life, I got a ball. I got one of the players tossed me a ball, and I have a ball now. But because it was batting practice and no one's in uniform, and I don't know the White Sox very well, I actually was like, who was that? And thank goodness for the White Sox fans just down the area from me. I was like, who just handed me that ball? And they were able to tell me. And I was like, see, this is why it's useful. You can tell me.
Was it Tony La Russa's and it had his number on it?
Oh God. No, you know what? It was Danny Mendick, who is kind of utility.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I would never recognized him because I was like, oh, a guy. I don't know.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, you. So anyway, I'm glad to know that if I go to Fenway, I probably will come out alive. That is a useful thing for me to know when I go.
Yeah.
Great. This is great. Speaking of Fenway, though, I have one more thing, which you know me pretty well. So you probably know my great affection for puppets and Muppets and animals.
Yes.
So clearly,
Yes.
clearly I'm a huge mascot person, and my team doesn't have one because we are too cool or something. I don't know. I wish they had one, but you do. And I looked up prior to this conversation. I knew it was Wally. His name is Wally, and he is a green monster. He is like a generic green monster wearing a Red Sox uniform. He's got a little like orange round nose. He's got little orange hair under his cap. He's pretty cute, but I knew this. What I did not know was I was looking up his origin story. And I'm not sure if you know this, but there was like a 10-paragraph essay on the Red Sox website about Wally's origin story. And I will spare everyone. I will not read the whole thing, but I will summarize what I learned in my best literature major reading comprehension fashion, which is to say that apparently Wally the Green Monster predates Fenway and was just living in Boston, right near where they eventually built a ballpark in his backyard. So he was like, I love baseball. I love the Red Sox. I want to go to every game, but I'm a monster. No one's going to like that. So he used to go to the game, like starting in 1912. He went to every game disguising himself in a mask. So people would think that he was a human, I guess, and it worked. And then they that big wall, which became the Green Monster, got rebuilt, and it got taller. And then it used to have ads all over it. And then they painted it green. But at some point in this whole mess, he one day at a game, I think it was in 1947, he lost his mask in the shuffle and somehow fell onto the field in left field and was like, and they saw security guards coming towards him and needed to escape and saw there was a door in the wall. So he ran to that door, and then he decided to live there forever. And curiously, he heard on the field sometimes people would point in his direction and refer to that green monster. So he assumed everyone knew he was there and they were referring to him. And then in 1997, a bunch of high school or elementary school kids came to sing happy birthday to the wall. And he was like, oh, that's so nice. They're singing to me. I'm the green monster. At which point in 1997, he came out and was like, hi, I am here. Thank you. And everybody celebrated him. And then he became the mascot.
That is so cute. That's, he has a girlfriend.
Yes, Tessie.
Tessie, yep. Tessie is a relic from the days of the Royal Rooters, which was a club of fans in, the turn of the 20th century. They were the Royal Rooters. I think of it as more of a club of fans as opposed to a gang, though who knows? But yeah, they had some renown. And there's that Dropkick Murphys cover of the song Tessie.
Oh.
Yeah, which was in vogue in '03.
I didn't know any of that. See, okay, well, it's interesting you say that's his girlfriend because the website calls her his sister. So, I mean, I guess.
Oh, okay.
You might have a situation there, but they're monsters. Maybe the rules are different. I don't know. But
I'm thinking Mr. Met and Mrs. Met. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think they're brother and sister. Although it's curious that there's no mention of her in his origin story, so maybe she just was like also there. But I like Tessie because she's got the same like green fur. There's a family resemblance, same shaped face, but her orange nose is like a little cute little button nose instead of the big bulb nose. And she's got little orange freckles and orange pigtails. And best of all, she gets to wear the high socks, and they're white and red striped high socks. They're super cute.
That's a good look. The high sock look is a good look. I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a fan of Tessie.
One of these
No, go.
Yeah. That would be something if the Yankees got a mascot. I think it would just be ridiculed and just chased out of the park. Yeah. There's a great story. I won't go into too much detail other than to reference it about this guy who became the mascot for the San Francisco Giants. I think this was in the 80s or 90s. Oh, it was hell on earth for him. It was hell on earth. Yeah, it's a great story. I recommend you. I'll try to send you the link. It's very entertaining. Poor guy. Poor guy. Anyways, yeah, when you do kabuki among 30,000 people, it's kind of, yeah.
Well, no, yeah, the Yankees will never do it. The fans will never have it, and it's not going to happen. So instead, I can just appreciate everyone else's mascots. Do Wally and Tessie like do anything in particular, or do they just have general mascot hijinks?
Yeah, just mascot, not even mascot hijinks. They kind of work the crowd and like they're on the field before the game and, probably handing over big cardboard checks to whomever, stuff like that, all the pregame, please direct your attention down to the field where blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I don't think they carry too heavy a load.
That's fair. They are monsters. We shouldn't ask too much of them. They're there to
You're right. It's tough sledding enough for them.
Yeah. I actually, in doing this series of conversations with fans, I always had a goal to get to all the parks. But now I have a sub goal of also meeting all the mascots.
Ah, yes.
I think I'm going to make it happen. I got to meet Wally and Tessie when I'm there. I'm very excited.
If you get to Fenway during batting practice, I can't see why that couldn't happen. Yeah.
Dreams. Plus, also in reading this origin story about Wally, it occurs to me that if he lives inside that wall, that maybe that time that Manny Ramirez decided to like vanish into the wall, he just went to ask Wally for some advice.
Could be.
I'm just saying, it would be nice if you were like, I'm gonna check out Wally. That would help me right now. And just like, what, that would be a better story to me.
It would be. Yes, that we could put that in a children's book. That would be good. Yes, as opposed to what probably happened. Yeah.
We will omit that.
Yes. Yeah. We'll airbrush that out.
Amazing. Okay, so I only have one more thing. So before I do one more thing, is there anything else about the team in general, or the season in particular, or life do you feel like you want to say before you play a brief game with me?
No, I am pleased as punch that a third of the way through the season, the Red Sox are a 96-win team. That's, if you had told me that, I would have signed up for it. And even if they slide back, they're still probably like an upper 80s team. So I'll take it. I will take it.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
And now
I hope your team gets better.
I also hope that. But there's always time until there's not. That's where we're at. And now, if you'll indulge me, I want to play a game with you, and it's low pressure. It's gonna be fun. So it is called the matchup game.
Okay.
It is nothing like the match game, but I liked the name. So here's what I have. I've got 4 baseball caps to my left, and one of them has the names of most of the Red Sox hitters. One has the name of most of the Red Sox pitchers. And I got the same for the Yankees. And I want to draw 5 pitcher batter pairings and have us each predict what we think the outcome of that at bat is going to be. And I will track these at bats because I love making spreadsheets. And basically, anytime the outcome one of us predicted happens, that person gets a point. And the person with the most points at the end of the season series wins and owes, the other person owes them a beverage, preferably at a baseball game. Make sense? Cool.
All righty.
Now, because this is a Red Sox-based conversation, you get to choose whether you would prefer to have 3 of the pitchers be Red Sox or 3 of the hitters be Red Sox.
Pitchers.
Interesting. I thought you might go hitters, but all right. Cool. In which case, the Red Sox are going to be the first thing I draw. I'm going to draw a pitcher from the Red Sox hat, and let's see who we get. It's so fun. All right. Well, I got Sawamura, so that's who we got. And let's see what we think you would do against Giancarlo Stanton.
Wow. Oh boy. I could see him giving up a home run to Stanton. I could see him being the cure to Stanton's ills. Yeah, I think Stanton's going to come out ahead on that one. I could see him parking one in left.
Yeah, I honestly think that's a pretty good call. So I support your choice, but had to play something different. So I'm going to actually say that Stanton's going to hit like a single to left, but the kind of single that's hit so hard that's not a double because like ricochets back too far.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. All right. Now the Yankees get to pitch, and they are going to throw Domingo Germán, right-handed starter. And the Red Sox at the plate are going to have Alex Verdugo.
That's who I would hope for. Yep. Okay.
Let's match up for a Doogie.
Yep. Oh, I could see Verdugo pulling one into the gap or down the line. Down the line, it's going to be a single. In the gap, it's going to be 2. Here's to getting around on Germán, and it's going to be a single down the line.
Love it. Okay. Because Herman actually has pitched pretty well, but
I know.
has been very homer prone, I'm actually giving Verdugo a homer here. Not that I want it, but he seems to be good for at least like 2 solo home runs a game. So
Okay.
I'm going to say Verdugo has one of those and he's going to homer.
All right, Sox are going to win 2-0. Cool.
There you go. That's the way it's going. That sounds about right. Although I think I think we might miss Herman this series because he pitched last night. So
Okay.
But there are 19 games, so you'll probably get him at some point. Okay, next we got another Sox pitcher, and that person is going to be Matt Barnes at closer, and he is going to have to face Clint Frazier.
Ooh, that's a good matchup.
I mean, yeah, Frazier did hit the big walk-off home run last night.
I have Barnes striking him out. I am doubling down on Matt Barnes. I have the zeal of a convert when it comes to him. He can do no wrong right now. Yeah, I could see him whiffing Cliff Frazier, whose numbers are, parenthetically, God, oh.
They're bad. Yeah, it's bad. They're bad, but they're like not even the worst on the team. You were talking about people with sub 200 batting averages. That's half our lineup right now, which is like, it's so weird. But I will persist in hoping for better as it comes. And to that end, I think Clint Frazier, with his miraculous bat speed, which has not slowed down despite results, I'm going to give him a single to left as well. I think he's going to get ahead of one. Hanging curveball maybe and punish it along. That's what I think.
Well, his bat speed has increased because there's nothing to slow it down. So
zing, zing. Okay, there you go. But whatever. I'm gonna ride the vibes of the last at bat that he had was a rocket homer. So we're just gonna ride that vibe for as long as we can.
That's a good feeling. It's too bad it took 11 innings, but
sure heck is. But you know what? We got there. Beat the Rays.
Yep.
Also, you're welcome because beat the Rays.
Yep.
All right.
Nice.
Yankees have to pitch again, apparently, and they're going to throw Jordan Montgomery. I dropped him, but it was him. All right, lefty starter, and he is going to be facing Christian Arroyo, righty, with power.
Okay, I like that. Arroyo is a lefty masher.
Yep.
That said, I see him grounding out in Urshela making a good play. Actually, kind of like a 5-3 double play. It's going to be 2 runners on, and you're going to think, okay, Arroyo, this is perfect. He's going to beat one into the. He's going to mash it to third, and Urshela is going to do boom boom 5-3. He's going to think, oh, maybe I can go to second, but I don't need a triple play. A double play is going to need. That's what I see happening. He's going to get into a 5-3 double play. Okay,
I love that as a prediction. I also, if anyone's going to turn that, it's Urshela. So that's the person to hit it to if you want a double play turned for sure. I think against Montgomery, I don't know. I am always very high on Jordan Montgomery. And he has mixed results, but I think he's great. And I don't think he's going to strike him out, but I do think he's going to get the out. So I'm going to go with, I'm also going to go with a ground out, but I'm going to go with a ground out to second. He's going to be, no, you know what? No, I'm revising that. Nope, terrible prediction. I'm changing my mind. Instead, I'm going to go with he's going to fly out to Judge and right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's going to wait on one, but it's going to be a little too far outside. And he's just not going to barrel it. Yeah.
He's thinking it's a curveball, but it's actually the fastball, and he's late, and it goes to Judge. That's what I'm thinking happens there.
Yeah, and there'll be that split second where you're like, oh, it's not.
I'm very familiar with that. Yes. All right. We got one more, and the last Red Sox pitcher to come down today it's Nick Pivetta. Undefeated, Nick Pivetta. And he is going to have to go to work against Aaron Judge.
Oh, ouch. 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 Oh boy, I could see Pivetta throwing a two-seamer that just doesn't stop until it hits like that whatever that Yankee steakhouse is in center field. Oh boy, yikes! Oh, Judge. Um, I see a called third strike.
Yeah. Totally
He's
possible.
going to have one of those comeback two-seamer that's going to just nibble on the outside corner. Judge is going to shake, but he'll get rung up. Call third strike.
Okay. All right. That's a fair one.
Yeah.
I can see the homer as well, but in the interest of accruing more points, I'm going to actually go with double. I think Judge can smack one in the gap. I would say the left center gap for a double. Yeah. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, and if you second with a head of steam, everybody's heart's going to be in their mouths. Like, no, you do not need a triple, Aaron. You do not need a triple. Yeah.
Nope. Stay where you are.
I'm happy. I was thinking I'm happy for the gap. Yep, because I know it's just going to be a double. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He's going to Henderson it and just stay at second.
Thank you. Just do that. Just stay where you are. Next man up, right?
Yep.
Okay, amazing. Well, that was great. I will track all of these, and because our teams play enough games against each other, hopefully these matchups will actually happen, and we'll have some points. I think my Tigers is the only series that's ended for the season, and my opponent beat me with a score of 1-0. It happens. So hopefully we'll have more points than that between us. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, cool. So I think that's it for me. I feel much better equipped to actually watch the Red Sox now. I'm excited to see them, I think.
I will maintain the decorum that has been on display so far in watching the game. I'm not drinking those 24-ounce beers or whatever it is they sell for $15. So my demeanor might be slightly different, and it may be affected by the quality of fan in the upper right field seats. So
we'll see.
I will offer to be polite and in good company. And I hope I can follow through.
You'll be great. I'm excited because you'll be able to, as I sit there with my very dorky scorebook, you'll be able to help me as I'm like, which one is that? Why do I know him?
Yes.
It'll be wonderful. And also I will, if other Yankee fans are mean to you, I will yell at them as well. So between us, we're going to be great. Cool. Well, I look forward to it.
It's going to be a great time.
I look forward to it extremely. I cannot wait. And I guess that's it. Do you have anything else you want to throw in there before we wrap it?
No. Thank you for inviting me. This was a delight. We should do it for every series. It'll be shorter and shorter conversations.
Yeah, I'm super looking forward to the game on Friday. It's going to be awesome. And I tell you this, if
it will be
meet in the playoffs, we will do this again to discuss the playoff preview.
Oh.
How's that sound?
All right. That's one more reason to root for half of the season. Yes, that would be delightful.
Yeah.
For so many reasons, that would be a great thing.
Yes, it would make us both very happy, I think. And then we'd be able to watch our teams play in the playoffs. But in the meantime, we're going to watch them play this weekend. It's going to be a great series. I'm very excited to see how it goes. And yeah, I can't wait to see you.
Yes, looking forward to it.
Me too. Thank you for doing this. This is amazing. And yeah, I'll see you Friday.
Yes, my pleasure, Kara. Can't wait to see you.
Yay.